Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're continuing our Ireland adventures, and I am catching up on my January virtual crop sketches. I have sketch number 1 and sketch number 2 that I need to do, and so I'm combining the two, and we're going to have some fun today making that work in a beginner, intermediate, and experienced video. So I hope this is fun for you. Let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. All right, so here's my workspace for today, and we are going to get started on a couple of virtual crop sketches from January that I have not done yet. Those are sketch 1 and sketch 2, and I'm turning them into a 2-page layout. So one side will be one sketch, the other side will be the other sketch. And we're going to coordinate them so that they will look like they were meant to go together. So let's get started. I'm going to share with you some of the tools I have on my table first off. I have permanent and repositionable adhesive. This is the brand new Creative Memories Jumbo Tape Runner. And this is a fantastic tool. I've actually been using something very, very similar for years. So we're going to try it in the video today. It does click when you run it. So if you find that distracting or aren't liking it, just let me know in the comments, okay, would you? I want to try it for today and we'll see how it goes. It may be too much. I may need to use the smaller one, the smaller size permanent tape runner like this, just because it's easier for you to see, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, and I also have the Climbing Vine Border Maker cartridge out here. Now this is an older one, and if you don't have this one, that's okay. Just use something that you have. You just need to make sure that you're using a chain Border Maker cartridge. Now the differences in the Border Maker cartridges, there's 3 different kinds, but the chain Border Maker cartridges are the ones that separate completely when you punch them out on your page. So that's the easiest way to explain what a chain Border Maker cartridge does or is. So choose one that separates completely from your page when you punch it, and that will work for this layout. Okay, so we're going to use the Climbing Vine because it just really works nicely with this layout. And I'm going to pop it in my housing and scoot this just to the side for a second while we talk about some other things. So I also have my multi-purpose tool, which always comes in handy, and I'm going to move my adhesive over to the side until we get to that point. But let's talk about the sketch for a second. So there's lots of different things going on with this sketch, and today's video is a BIE video. That means beginner, intermediate, and experienced. And I've said before that I choose to use experienced rather than advanced because I believe there are many, many more levels beyond what I consider to be something that an experienced scrapbooker would do. And I don't want to insult anybody, you know, because there are lots of other things you could do with these pages beyond what I'm going to show you today. But this is, for all intents and purposes, a beginner, intermediate, and advanced, beginner, intermediate, and experienced a BIE version of these 2 sketches. Okay, so we're going to use a variety of papers. Let me just run through those with you really quick, and they are not all CM papers. So if you're a staunch CM person, I apologize, but we're going to use these 2 as our bases, and these come from the Totally Tonal Tangerine pack. So if you have the Totally Tonals, this is a really nice ombre, and it's got this nice V kind of diagonal on the back, but we're going to use the ombre for our base. And then we're going to use this paper from the Totally Tonal Kelly Green collection. and it just has kind of a lighter green fleck in the Kelly green solid. Then these two papers come from Echo Park. I don't know if you're familiar with Echo Park. Echo Park is a paper company here in Utah. They do some really great things and have some really cute papers and collections that they create as well. I don't generally use all of their stuff, but I did branch out to see what they had that I could use in this album, because I didn't want to use the same old papers over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because literally this could turn into 4 albums this trip. So I you know, I've had to broaden my horizons, right? So though you do see the same paper every now and then, I just want you to know that I am working on using some other things, okay? So this is what we call a cut-apart sheet. A cut-apart sheet is one that's pre-printed on one side so that you can cut it into embellishments or placeholders, if you will. And the other side is generally meant to be used just like you would use any other piece of scrapbook paper. So we're going to do some fun things with that. And we're going to use this one, which is also from Echo Park. And it has this bright stripe on the back, but we're not going to use the stripe. We're only going to use the flowery side. All right, because that will match some of the other things we're going to do. Okay, so those are the papers we're going to use. And we're going to talk today about the Dolmen. I don't know if you're familiar with this. I was not. But this is a fun rock that you'll find kind of in, not on the main path at Blarney. And then we're also going to talk about the wishing steps, which is kind of another fun area back in the less trodden paths. So let's get some things cut first off. I'm going to grab my 12-inch trimmer and we're going to get to work. Okay, so first off, I'm going to take this flower page and we are going to cut a couple things out of this. And I have notes just because I made notes on here of which papers I wanted to use where, and I didn't want to cut these in error. So I hope you will forgive my extra little pencil marks that seem to be everywhere. But I just wanted to make sure that I didn't make a mistake. So Echo Park papers come with this little extra 1/2-inch piece that's not really good for decorating much of anything, although if you wanted to, I suppose you could cut off the Happy St. Patrick's Day and use that from each end, but I'm just lazy and not going to do that. So I'm going to take my flower paper, and the first thing I'm going to do is cut it into a 10.5-inch square. That means I need to cut 1.5 inches off, which works beautifully because I need 1.5 inches to go ahead and place it here. I beg your pardon, not there. Where is it going? Oh, it's going here, so it does need to be a vertical piece. I remembered thinking it needed to be a vertical piece, but then I got confused. Sorry about that. Okay, so 1.5 inches we're going to cut from this side, and that makes this 10.5 inches this way. We're going to save this. It's going to go in that left-hand layout. Then I'm going to turn this again. We're going to cut it at 1.5. I'm using the grid on the right-hand side this time. So 1.5 off of here, and this is just an extra piece we're going to set to the side until we need it for something fantastic. All right, so this piece is going to go in the layout on the right-hand side, and that 12 by 1.5 inch piece is going to go on the left. Okay, then we're going to take the cut-apart sheet, and hold on just a second. I'm going to move this for a second. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut out this, the first thing I'm going to do is cut off the strip at the bottom because it makes it cumbersome. It makes it difficult for me to cut anything else. because it doesn't fit into my 12-inch trimmer. All right, so now we're going to turn it this way, and we're going to cut on the cutting line all the way up this section right here. Now, you can measure, I've talked a little bit about measuring before. You can measure before the line, you can measure on the line, or you can measure just after the line. It really does have a huge effect on your whole layout when you're using a project recipe. Now, this is not a project recipe, so don't get me wrong, but just keep in mind that being consistent is good. So however you choose to cut your pieces, be consistent and make sure you're cutting all of the pieces like that. This is the piece that we want. It's going to go over here on the left, and I'm going to save this because we are going to use it next. Okay, so I'm just going to set my other little cheat sheet card over here. I need a piece that is 6.5. So I'm gonna actually pull my arm out for this one so that I can make sure I'm getting this measurement right. So 6.5, and this is going to be 6.5 by 10.5. Now this is the only measurement that I have changed in this layout, but in the layout sketch it says the measurement is 5.5 by 10.5, but I need it to be 6.5 because of a photo that I am trying to accommodate. So we're going to cut it at 6.5 by 10.5 in order to accommodate the photo that I'm trying to make good. Okay, so this one's going to go on the right hand side layout, so I'm just going to slip that underneath there. Then I'm going to grab this piece and we're going to cut. Now it's already cut at 4 inches, remember, because we cut this out. So I'm just going to turn it and I'm going to cut 2 pieces that are 2 3/4 inches high. So there's one, and here is 2. And then this is extra, so it's going to go over there to the side. All right, then we're going to take this piece and we're going to do a couple things with this. So first off, we're going to cut 4 inches off of it. So I'm going to measure to 4 inches. Then I'm going to take that and I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut it in half at 6. Okay, and that's going to go over here on the left. Then the remainder of this we are going to punch. So I'm just going to set that aside for a second because we're not ready to do that yet. And I'm going to grab one of my base sheets. Now, we're not going to do this with both of the base sheets, but the base sheet that's going to go on the right-hand side layout is going to get gutted, if you're familiar with that term. And we're going to gut it at 1 1/4 inches. So I'm going to come in here and place my paper at the 1 1/4 inch mark out here on the right-hand side so that I can balance my paper on a longer ledge up here and keep it straight, remember? All right, then we're going to start cutting at the 2 1/4 inch mark right here, okay? When we cut at 2 1/4 inches, we're going to stop down here when our blade, or when our housing gets to 11 3/4. That will give us a 1 1/4 inch start point for the base. Okay, so we're going to do this down to 11 3/4. Then we're going to turn it 1 1/4, place it that right at 1 1/4. Then we're going to come up and start from our cut, come back down. So this is at 11 3/4. Turn it. 1 1/4. Start our cut, come down to 11 3/4. With the housing, come to 11 3/4. Then measure again at 1 1/4. Start from our cut and cut until we get to the second cut. Okay, so now we have this extra paper, which is nice. We might use it or we might not, we'll see. But for now, I'm just going to set it over here and we'll see if we get to that later. Okay, so that's going to be used in the layout on this side. And this piece of paper right here is going to be used in the layout on this side. All right, and now we need to punch a couple of things. So I'm just going to put my trimmer back over here, grab my border maker system, grab what's left of that green totally tonal paper, and we are going to get set up to go ahead and punch a few. We need 3 actually, 3 strips of the, what is it called again? The climbing vine. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get those punched really quick. All right. And just that quickly, we are done with getting our papers ready. So let me go ahead and clean up my space here just real quick. First of all, we are going to work on I'm just gonna set that off to the side here for a second. Okay, we're going to work on this layout first, okay? And I should tell you that I am turning this layout. So it's going to look like this rather than the way that it was just a second ago, okay? It'll look like this. All right, so I'm going to leave my ombre sheet where it is, and going to set those just off to the side. First of all, I'm going to take these 2 pieces of the leaf border. I'm going to take my repositionable adhesive and going to go ahead and get these put on. Now these are kind of delicate if you've never scrapped with this particular, oh, you know what? I cut that wrong. I'm noticing now. I should have cut it so that the vertical flowers were horizontal. I forgot I was turning the paper. Okay, well, so sorry. I hope that that doesn't mess you up. I am adding my leaf vine about a 1/4 of an inch from the edge. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, only from the other edge. Sorry, I just noticed that as I was prepping this. And I'm going to use it anyway. I'm hoping it won't be too terribly noticeable. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it's not goofy looking. Some of these flowers are going different directions, so I think it will be okay. All right. Okay, so there we've got our leaf vine. Now I'm going to take the flowers and just because I'm just going to use my repositionable adhesive for a second, because I want to, now see, the shamrocks are going the right direction. the flowers may be laying down, but the shamrocks are going in the right direction. Tell me where my priorities lie, right? Okay. Now, it looks like I glued down some of what I didn't want to glue down. So, just going to have to kind of pop some of this up so that I can get my flowers where I want them to be. This is where a multi-purpose tool truly comes in handy. Bear with me here. Thinking I probably should have put this piece on first, and I didn't. So, my bad. Okay. There we go. Okay, now let me grab the photos that are going to go on this page. I have two. I have this one, which is the placard for the Dolmen, and then I have a picture of my brave Haley standing underneath it. And let me just read a little bit about it for you so you know what this is. It says, the secrets of this megalithic tomb portal are lost in the mists before history began. Was the great rock rolled or was it lifted? Why does it still sometimes rock? What magic and mysteries has it guarded over the millennia? We cross the portal with care and we wonder. So this rock right here, this huge rock, is balanced on this other rock right here. And so when they said it moves, apparently it sometimes rocks. This is another picture of it from this side over here, taken this direction. But that's my Haley standing there in between, ready to get squished. Not sure what possessed her, but that's okay. It's over and done and she's just fine. All right, so these two dots papers I want to put right here and right here. And this cut apart that we made, I want to put right here. Now, clearly it's not going to work the way I had initially envisioned because it's 4 by 4 and we only have room for 2 3/4, remember? So let me I'm going to grab my guillotine trimmer and we're going to do some quick trimming on this to make it work for where I want it. Okay?
2 3/4?
2 3/4. So this center portion right here is exactly what we need. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim off the sides.
So you're giving it a haircut?
A little bit. Just a tiny one. Okay. All right, so then that piece can go right there. And then this piece down here, I originally had thought I would turn into a journal box kind of area because I took the journal box area and put my polka dots here. So I don't have a journal card that I can put right there just now. So in the interim, I'm going to put that photo there and we'll see if it stays. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. All right, let me go to our page on the right. We're going to shift gears just a little bit. I'm just going to set that off to the side for a second and we're going to get back to it in just a minute. Okay? All right, so we're going to take this piece the piece that we made a frame out of. That's going to be the base piece. Hang on just a second here. Then I'm going to take this one with all the flowers, and we're going to add some adhesive to the edge of this. See how it clicks? If you don't like sound effects when you roll out your adhesive, then I don't know, this might not be for you, but it doesn't bother me. And like I said, I've used something similar for a long time, so it works just fine for me. Okay, so we're going to place our flowers. Now, you know what I just noticed? Some of the flowers are sideways, no matter which way you put your paper. So I think we'll go with that. And we'll let some of the flowers be sideways. Okay, so we're just going to center this, and basically you're going to end up with 3/4 of an inch all the way around as your frame for the outer edge. I just noticed I got a little close to my edge over here, so I'm just going to fold my adhesive under before I stick this down. There we go. Okay, so there's my base piece. I'm going to turn this so I can see it the right direction again. So we're doing this layout right here. I'm going to go ahead and take the polka dot piece, and we're going to put that down. And this is going to go roughly a 1/2 inch in from the edge of the flowers. Okay, so that's roughly where that piece, actually I take that back, it's going to actually go more like an inch in from the edge of the flowers. Okay, so there we go, there's that. Then I need one more piece of paper, and I neglected to pull it. But we need 2 inches of it, no matter what it is. And it just so happens that that is cut at 2 inches. Or pretty darn close to it. Look at that. Okay, so perfect. There is my 2-inch piece of cardstock. And I'm going with cardstock because I didn't have another piece from any of the other papers that I used that I could put in here and have it work. So I'm going to turn this just a second so that I can measure and find the center and lay this down easily without having to worry that I am off. Okay, so just finding the center and laying that right down across. Forms a little bit like a belt. Then we're going to take the other vine that we punched and go ahead and add some adhesive to it, and it's going to go right across the bottom edge of that cardstock. Just try to center it the best you can. This particular punch doesn't leave a lot of places to hide a seam, so I'm just sort of centering it over that edge. Okay? All right, now the photos that are going to go on this page are right here. So these are going to go here on this page. Just going to add this in right here. And one thing that I forgot to mention was that the basic portion of this layout can be done without these punched pieces. And when you do it without the punched pieces, that really is the basic or the beginner level of doing this layout. Doing the punched borders brings it up a notch to the intermediate level, to this level. Okay? So, same thing for this side. When you create this layout without the punched border, just with the blocked pieces, that would be the beginner, that would be what I would consider a beginner level layout. When you add this punched piece, that brings it up to an intermediate level layout. Okay, now we're going to take this and we're going to slip it right underneath there. It says it's called the wishing steps. And we're going to take these photos and they're going to go on up here. And I have one extra photo that I'm playing with, trying to figure out what I want to do. But these are going to go right across there. So just like that. And then I think this one is going to go right in here. And we're just gonna make room for it. I might move that one slightly over so that we can still see a little bit of the polka dot paper, but we get to see this is the mouth of the wishing steps where my cousin Kelly was coming up those steps. This is the base of the steps, and this is the top. And this says, for hundreds of years, the Blarney witch has taken firewood from our estate for her kitchen. In return, she must grant our visitors' wishes. If you walk down and back up these steps with your eyes closed, some suggest walking backwards, and without for one moment thinking of anything other than a wish, then that wish will come true within a year. We say only that the steps can be slippery and that we take no responsibility. Of course. So, anyway, just a fun legend. But, you know, I'm glad Emily didn't go along on this one. Remember, she was still in her wheelchair from trying out the last time that someone said that there was a legend that you could have a wish granted if you did XYZ. Right? Okay, so that is the basic level of that. Okay, you could add some embellishments, which we'll get to in just a minute, but with the punched borders, that knocks it up to intermediate. And if you want to come up to a more experienced level, then we're going to do what it shows in this sketch here, and that is we're going to do some matting. And we're going to do some corner rounding. Here it is. So we're going to take and we're going to round the corners of each of these mats. And if you don't have a CM corner rounder, but you have a regular one, just use that. But you might want to think about getting the CM corner rounder, because the CM corner rounder can do some really fun things that I bet yours doesn't. Let me just show you really quick. So this is one of my notes to let me know how to measure. And the CM corner rounder is what we call a reverse corner rounder, in that it will cut a wedge like that, or it will cut and round the corner. So if you can see how that works like that. Kind of cool stuff. Definitely gives you a different effect. But for this one, we're just going to round all the corners. We're going to round the corners of the mats we cut. We're going to round the corners of the pieces that are on the board already. Okay, so there are those. We're going to take each of these photos and round them up as well. All right, now I'm going to center my page so that I know where the middle is. There's the middle right there. And I'm going to go ahead and center my photo there in the middle. And center this one underneath it. Then we've got a few more things to round. Now, for this one, we're only going to round the pieces that are towards the center. So we're going to line this up with our center here, our photo that's already matted, and we're going to place it right to the edge might be helpful actually if I had attached my base page to my actual page. I think that would be really helpful in placing these. So I may just do that in a second here, because I want that right on the edge of the paper, but I also want it in line with this piece, and it's harder to tell where that is when I don't have the jeeping to butt it up right against. So I'm going to remove these two pieces, and we're going to go ahead and adhere this base piece down. Okay. I'm really liking the orange in the background on this. What do you think? Really liking it. I'm not usually an orange person, so I mean I like orange where it comes to pumpkins and things like that, but otherwise I'm not usually my eye doesn't usually enjoy orange so much. Okay. Now the curved edges on the inside, and we're just gonna do our best to make that level. So we can add this photo in just like it is. I think that would be okay. And then if we want to journal, where are we going to journal? Well, I could add something over top of this, or down here in this corner, to journal. Let's see what happens there as we go. Okay, so this is going to not get matted. It's just going to go right here without a mat. Okay. All right. So that works for bumping it up just a little bit more. And let's take a look at this piece. We need to get all of this adhered, so bear with me a second. All right. So that is our layout without embellishments. Okay. Now, you'll notice that in the sketches they recommend 3 spots of embellishing here and 3 spots of embellishing here. And when I do a 2-page layout, I generally will only embellish up to 3 times. Sometimes I may add a little bit of extra here or there, but most of the time I choose to just do 3 spots. And so rather than doing 6 spots, I would rather do 3 spots that are going to pull my eye across the page. And I subscribe to Noreen Smith's recommendation, and that is that you want to look at your page and kind of visualize a grid on the page, similar to like a tic-tac-toe board, okay? So you want to take a look and try to determine which what areas you want to put your embellishing, and you want your embellishments to be where those invisible lines crisscross as much as possible, or you know, right close to that. So I would put something right here, or I could put something right here, or I could put something, if you think about it, I could put something right in here. I could put something right here. Not that I would, because I don't want to interrupt those photos. So, and same thing here. I don't want to put something right in the middle of that picture either. So I probably am not going to put anything this far over on this page. I could put something in the corner over here, or maybe more towards the middle ground. So maybe over here would be a good spot. I could put something up here, and that would kind of be a good spot. Or I could move it to this page and put it up here, kind of in this general area, and then still do something down here. In fact, I think that's probably what I will end up doing. Let's check out some embellishments that I know are going to match this because they go with the Echo Park stuff, and see if there's anything on here that we could use. I like this Lucky, and I think it needs to go over here with Haley being underneath that rock. And we'll put Lucky with a star, a lucky star. How's that? Kind of fun. We could put it down here with her. Kind of like that. What else do we have? We could put, they're always talking about luck. It's kind of interesting. We could put Little Miss Lucky over here with Kelly, or we could do Little Miss Lucky for Haley. Maybe we should do Little Miss Lucky for Haley. And we'll do Lucky Star for Kelly over here. Maybe like that. And we'll use Little Miss Lucky for Hay. What was I just looking at that I was going to add to this? I think it was just some flowers. Let's just add some flowers to pull more flowers onto this page. Little Miss Lucky. Maybe we'll add this little horseshoe right here too. We can put that down here like that. And then what to go up there? Could say, I'm just here for the shenanigans, which is one of my favorite words that we attribute to the Irish. Shenanigans. I'm just here for the shenanigans. What can we add to that? Maybe just the sun. Because Don't want it to be too wide. It's already going to be fairly wide that way. And I think there's enough going on in that I don't need to add anything more. So I think we're going to go with that. And I'm just going to stick these down so that they are flush on the page rather than popping them up with foam squares this time around. I think my albums are, this album is plenty thick from the fun that we've been having. All right, let's make sure this is in a good spot. Say lucky, like lucky star. There we go, like that. And I think we're gonna call that good. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, would you? I always like to hear from you. I like how we've got the green punched leaves on both pages. We've got the orange showing through on both pages. We've got, oh, and I unintentionally flipped that frame so that the dark orange is at the top rather than at the bottom. I really didn't do that consciously, so I think it actually works pretty well for this. But I honestly didn't do that on purpose. That's funny. The only thing that I might change is this yellow. I think I might swap that out for an orange or a tangerine color. I think that might have worked better than that bright yellow. Otherwise, I think I like it. Let me know what you think. It's a fun layout to do, and or these two layouts are both fun to do. So I hope it's something that you enjoyed, whether you chose the beginner option or the intermediate option, or the more advanced option with all the matting and the corner rounding and all of that. I hope that these pages are something that will bring you joy in your scrapbook. Thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.